Okay, so I thought I would go over some of the camera apps I have on my phone for you. I thought it'd be easier to do it this way than to typing out an email. So we're just going to go in order what I have here. So first we're going to go over Camera Plus and what I use that for. So we're going to open up Camera Plus now. Alright, and here's the interface for it. I do like it because you see in the top right corner it's going to give you some information about your shot. Most likely the shutter speed, which is great for avoiding blurry pictures. I also like this app because I can save it to a separate library here, and so if I'm taking pictures of things I don't want to keep or go to my photo stream and stuff, I can put them in here. It's also got some great editing features which I use quite a bit. This is pretty much your basic app. You can change things like exposure, compensation and stuff, go up and down, things like that. Various settings in here that you can mess around with, grid stuff pretty much. But I use this a lot more when it first came out than I do now, just because I've moved on. But I do use it now and again for those things, and I do love having that shutter speed there and be able to save it to a separate library. And the best part about it is the editing features that we have. Alright. So here we have Pro Camera. Pro Camera is probably the one I use the most nowadays. That's because it shows you the ISO speed. The ISO shows you on the left here. Also shows you the shutter speed and has a little histogram. And one of my favorite things about this is that it shoots in a TIFF format. So it's going to save all the information from the picture that we can. And besides that, here we'll go open in settings here. Go to more. It also has so here's a file format, and it also compresses the TIFF, which is great. So it brings it almost to the size of a large JPEG instead of like a 32 megabyte file. So I love that. Plus I always use, see if it has it on here, the volume button to take a picture. So I love having that on here. It also does video pretty well. So it's been a great app, and I do also love the information it gives you. So if we click on our pictures down in the right corner, click on my camera roll, take pictures of our kids is pulling, I can come up here and hit the eye at the very top. It's going to give me detailed information about it, as well as locations and things like that. And it does this for video as well, which is, I find, a great help. So that in a nutshell is Camera Pro, or Pro Camera, sorry. We also have the basic camera in here I use quite a bit because it's just real easy to get to, and I can switch between pictures and video real easily. So I end up using that quite a bit. Pure down here, which is called Pure Shots, the orange with the black. It just says Pure, but it's called Pure Shot. I use this one quite a bit because I can limit the shutter speed. So you can see in the lower left, it's 1/30th of a second. I can actually limit that so it will not go below 1/30th of a second. So if the kids are running around and stuff and there's low light, I can put this app on, make sure I get a clear picture. They're not blurry because they're running around. And this also shoots, they call it DRI, see the top right, a TIFF file format. This one, the first one, has a great histogram and everything. So it's a great app to use. You can change things like, there you go, night mode, has a timer, and it can change where it meters, so it can meter just in the middle, do evaluative metering and things like that, which can also help take some great pictures. This also will compress the TIFF, so you don't get the giant files, and you can save them for whatever you want. This will also do bracketing, so if you want to do HDR pictures on your own, this could take 3 bracketed shots, things like that. It has a lot of great features that you can use. And so those are my main picture apps that I use. If we want to go on to my I would say select specialty apps here. So we have Camera Awesome. I'm not going to go into that. That's pretty much just to use because it will strip out location formats before I post to the web, so I use that for that. 645 Pro, this is like the last one, Pure Shot. This is actually got this before Pure Shot. Pure Shot is more of, I want to say, dumbed down version of this app, but it's a simpler, more basic version of this app. So you can see here we actually have a filter on here. So we open up filter, so we have a blue gradient 1. And so we can go on here and we can change filters, and they do them live, which I like to do. And you can take it to no filter if you want. But this will take a picture with the filter on and one off. So if you want to test with that, you can do it as well. I also shows that it does in the TIFF format and does it compressed. Has a lot of great features if you like to mess around with filters and things like that. Otherwise, it's a lot like PureShot. It will limit down the shutter speed as well. So I have it down to 1/30th. So I can use this when kids are moving around and things are moving fast as well. So it's just another option. LabSit here, this is a special app I use purely for doing time lapses. I like to do this over other things because it can capture the full frame of a time lapse, and so just instead of doing it in a high def format, I can do a full frame of the camera. It can process that here. I can export it to my computer and do time lapses that way and change it out any way I want. So it gives me a lot of control over that. This feature, I don't know if I have anything in here. I don't. So I can set the size what I want, 1080p as on here, but I can also go in there manually and change it to full frame and things like that. I can test the intervals and actually adjust exposures and things. So that's a great app for taking time lapses with. Genius Scan is what I use to do like scanning documents, things like that. So you can go in here. I took this out of a booklet. You can see, it does a pretty good job. Adjust it, and you can still read everything. Then I can save it and export it to whatever I like. So that's been a great one for just scanning documents. One of the great ways to scan documents is to put it on a table near a window that's not getting direct light. They usually give you the best scans when you're doing that. There's also other great apps that do it as well, but that's just the one I use. Luma is a video app. All it really does is video stabilization. It just can't really buy it in the App Store anymore, so it's not really available. Pro Camera HDR just takes HDR shots. You have to hold it still, and it'll take 3 separate shots and do it that way. That's a recording app, the Rode LD. And so ProCam is another one I use here. I like to use ProCam here because it will allow me to adjust things, like most likely the exposure compensation. If I turn that one on, turn this on here, I can use exposure compensation. So if I'm taking a picture with a really bright background, I can brighten it up even though blow up the background. I can still get the shot I need. And so I'll use that for this. It also has an HDR function. It's okay, not the best. You can turn these things on and off real quickly. Has some great settings. It'll allow you to take video, single night mode, level video, so always keep it level, which is kind of weird. It does slow motion, which is nice. So if you have an older iPhone, this is an iPhone 5S, so it can do the 120 frames per second and 720p. If you have an iPhone 5, this will allow you to do 60 frames per second and things like that. So where you may not be able to do other, this will allow you to do it. Also does time lapse, but I use the other app to do that. So it has some good features and stuff to it. But one of the biggest drawbacks for me is that if you go into the settings and you go to photos and you go to format, where is that? Here we go. It does TIFF but not compressed TIFF. So if you take a picture with this in uncompressed TIFF, that means it's going to be like 32 megabytes instead of like 6 megabytes. And so that drives me nuts. And so I haven't used this one as much, though it does allow me to take a picture with a volume button and things like that. So this is kind of one I use when I need to have some easy controls, but not all that much. All right, lens flare is just another thing that I use. Okay, so Cortex Cam, this is what I use sometimes to take night shots. It does a really good job at taking night shots because it will take various video frames and then mix them together. You can get a really low noise, great picture with it. Sometimes you have better chances with it doing handheld than you do like a night shot in other areas and things like that. Let's see here if we can show you what it takes it. So it's going to expose, and it processes, and then we can have it, and it'll take great night shots there. So I use that quite a bit for taking night shots. Other than that, I mean, I do use True HDR sometimes when I do HDR in camera. I usually use the auto capture. You do have to try hold it still, and it takes 3 separate shots. And then it puts them together and you can adjust them. It's okay. It's not the greatest thing, but I mean, it works. And it does a lot better than, the Apple camera and some of the other HDR apps. So, I mean, it's definitely better than the other ones that have HDR functions in them, since it's pure HDR. The other HDR apps would probably do just as well and things. So, I use that every once in a while for HDR and things like that. A lot of these are just, especially the Tada SLR, that just allows you to do a blurry background or bokeh. If you want to do that, you can do it that way. I have Shutter here. The only reason I have Shutter here is because it has unlimited free backups of every picture I take, and it will do that regardless if I shoot it in here or not. So again, go back and come back here and take a look. And when it's backing up, and it says it's got like 102 photos backup. So this will auto backup for me every picture in my camera roll, regardless of if I shoot with this or not. So that's why I have that in here. The clear cam, it's something you can use sometimes. The biggest thing is that you can take various shots. So let's take a picture. So it's going to take 4 pictures and can tell me, 4 was the clearest. We're going to save just 4. So if you're getting a lot of blurry pictures, sometimes this can help you get a clear picture. This is on the quick mode. If you change it from quick to the advanced mode, let's see here. Where did that go? Should be able to click on quick and the enhanced. There we go. If you change to the enhanced, that's going to take several pictures. It's going to combine into one very large picture. I don't think it's any better than taking like a TIFF shot with something else. So I usually just leave it in quick when I'm having trouble getting a quick picture. It does not allow me to use the shutter button or anything. I have to use that little on-screen button to take a picture, and that kind of drives me crazy. But I do have some things for editing pictures and things, but that is pretty much my main system there. I usually use a Pro Camera when I can, or the built-in camera, because it's just so quick. But hopefully this helps you, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks. Bye.